Hi everyone, Jackie Mirkopoulos here, one of your self-care experts, and I have a special guest with me today, Steve Beattie from Breathing in Nature. He is part of our Wellness Collective.
Hi everyone.
And today, he is going to be taking us through some little food hacks for packing your camping cooler. I'm super excited about it. It's camping season, summertime here in Ontario. Everyone's going to their cottage and going camping. So Steve's going to walk us through some little tricks and tips of how to do so in a very efficient and mindful way.
All right. So we have got a spread of food here already for our camping trip. But there's kind of three different schools of thought about camping food. Some people don't like to do any work at all in the field. They'll boil water, and that's kind of it. Mm-hmm. And so they have things like this, these ready-made meal packs where you just boil water, pour it in, let it sit for 10 minutes, stir it up, and eat it. Mm-hmm. They're actually really tasty.
Okay.
Now, when I first started camping years ago, it was like, you may as well eat the bag it came in. It was nasty food. It kept you alive, and that was kind of it.
Okay.
But now they're actually really tasty.
Okay.
And tells you how many calories and the protein and all that kind of stuff. So they're great. I take these on my kind of bare bones trips where we're hiking into the woods and we're going fast and light. You don't want to carry like zucchinis with you and when you're backpacking necessarily.
No, probably not.
No, so this is more for backpacking food. And then on the other end of the scale, people will take their whole vegetables and fresh cuts of meat and they'll prepare it in the field.
That's me.
Yeah.
That was me until enter Steve.
And that's cool to do it that way, but you can have a lot of food waste out there. If something spoils, everything spoils. So I like to separate everything out at home first and do a little bit of meal prep before I go.
Okay.
So what we started with already is we've divided everything up into our categories. We've already cut up our vegetables to go on the grill, and then we've got our ingredient vegetables here, and we're going to vacuum pack them all and then sort everything up in our cooler so that we don't have to leave our cooler open.
Okay.
Ever. That's the trick. Coolers are great. Coolers will keep your food cold or frozen for an entire long weekend, but not if you're constantly opening and closing the lid or pulling stuff out, looking for stuff, and then putting warm stuff back in.
Also me.
Yeah. The cooler should be open once a day.
Okay.
That's it. So you need to have everything organized and ready to go so you don't have any of those mistakes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to get packing here, and then I guess the real challenge is how do we pack it in our cooler. But Steve brought his, as he said, his vacuum sealer today. What if people don't have a vacuum sealer?
What I did for years and years and years before I broke down and bought the vacuum sealer, I would just use a big Ziploc bag. And what you can do with a Ziploc bag, you put all your food in it, and you get a straw, and you kind of do it up part way and have the straw and suck all the air out really hard until you feel like you're about to pass out, and then zip it up.
Perfect.
And that's pretty good.
Okay.
It works better than you would think.
Okay.
It doesn't work very well with ground coffee.
As you're choking on the little grains.
But it works fine for vegetables and fruit and that kind of stuff. So
all right.
That'll work.
Perfect.
But, I have my food saver vacuum sealer. So that's what I use. So what we're going to do is actually because we don't want to pack in oil and bags of spices, we're going to do all that in advance. We're going to do that right now. So we're going to pour in the oil and the spices that you want in here. We're going to mix it all up, and then we're going to seal it shut.
Beauty.
All right.
Before we get into that, if you can just walk people through how you kind of meal planned for this, because you you had a list of like, okay, this is for day 1, day 2. So let's talk a little bit about that before we start actually packaging.
I am a very, very visual person, so I need to have everything laid out so I can see that, oh, here's this meal, here's this meal, here's this meal. So what I do, I quite literally lay out, there's my protein for meal 1. Let's get this guy out of the way altogether. I've got steak the first night, because you always have steak the first night on a camping trip.
You know what? Let's just take a moment here. That's what inspired me to do this with Steve, because we started talking about camping, and he's telling me about these like gourmet meals he's having on his camping trip, and I was just like, whoa, how do you do this? And then he said this is how. So I was like, this needs to be shared with the world, because everyone should be eating gourmet meals while they're camping, in my opinion.
I agree. I've had a lot of non-gourmet meals in my day.
Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that, but if you do enjoy some good food and you want to just up your camping game, this is a perfect way to do that. So we have the steak.
Yep, and we have some veg to go with the steak.
Okay.
Day 2 dinner, we're going to have some sausages, and these are going to be frozen, and we got more veg. Okay. Day 3 dinner, we're going to do a ground meat with some very aromatic, I don't know if it's Persian type.
This is
Spice?
a 10 spice blend mix that I already have, but you were mentioning like you can use like chili spice or like pretty much any combination of spices you want.
Yeah, and you can go to the grocery store and just get those pre-made like chili mix spice packets, something like that. And you can get them for also, if you go to the ethnic food aisle, and there's all sorts of different flavors that you can get. So that we'll portion that off for that. And then we'll also have a mix of vegetables that's going to go with that as well. Breakfast for 2 days, we have a dozen eggs, and that for one of the meals we'll also have some veg that we will saute with some oil, and then on the other day we'll have some avocados with that. Probably the first day we'll do the avocados, second day we'll do our veg. Our lunches consist of hummus, we have veggies, we have some rice for that one too. We've got meat and cheese and olives, so we will portion that out into different little lunch bundles, however that goes. And then on our last day, we also have our little instant oatmeal for anybody who likes instant oatmeal.
Well, it's super easy, especially on the last day, right?
Yeah.
And you can actually find some fairly decent one. This one's actually a wheat-free one, organic, so they're actually a lot better made than what they used to be when I was younger. That's
for sure. And a lot of time on the last day before you go, you don't want to spend all your morning washing pans out and doing that. You want to have that done. So it's quick and easy. You just rinse your bowl out and off you go. So
beauty.
It makes it easy that way.
So laying it out like this kind of makes it easy, I guess, because you can see, like you said, visually see what you're packing and what, so that when you're using your Ziploc bags with your straw or your vacuum sealer, that you're kind of organizing, you know what's going where.
Yes, and you know that you haven't forgotten anything.
Perfect.
You lay it all out and think, oh, wait, I've got a whole other day that I haven't accounted for yet.
Perfect. You can just count your meals out and everything's good to go.
Yep.
All right, so let's get into the first one. So we have, again, some grilled veg that's going to go with our first meal. We have some zucchini, some eggplant, and some peppers. And what do I do next?
I like how you slice those peppers, Jackie.
You like that?
Yeah.
Actually, that is a method that Steve taught, and we're going to take a moment to talk about this because it blew my mind. You know when you cut peppers and you want to put them on the grill, but they're like in little like cup-like shapes, and like there's a corner that gets burnt and then the other side doesn't get cooked? Look at this. Steve does 3 little slices and you have a nice flat piece of pepper for your grill. So little kitchen hack. I'm always a fan of kitchen hacks, so thank you for evolving my pepper game. All right, so we have our bag with our veg. I love this because Steve mentioned that we're going to be seasoning everything before we leave, which is so great to me because then you don't have to bring your oil and your salt and pepper and everything.
It's all done.
You're packing lighter and less work. So.
And they also marinate for a day or 2 or 3, however long it lasts.
Yeah.
So it's
amazing.
Ready to go.
All right. Let's pop that in there.
A little oil.
A little bit of oil.
A lot of oil.
Beauty,
enough?
yeah.
That should be enough.
I'm half Greek. Olive oil, a little bit more.
Sweet for me. Sweet.
All right, I'm gonna hold. Actually, I can just pop that in there like that.
Hold it?
Yeah.
Well, you can...
Teamwork is dream work. So a little bit of pepper, and again, I guess these you just season them however you want.
Yeah. So I'll do however long I'm going. I'll have 2 or 3 or 4 little veg packs of different types of veggies. I like grilling them over the fire, or if I'm canoeing or car camping, I'll have a charcoal grill with me, or I'll just do it over the fire.
Yep.
And so I'll just do different spices for each one.
Okay.
And then I don't really care which one I grab out of the pack. I'll just grab one and then surprise, it's
surprise!
that one for today. So it's a veggie surprise every day.
And you were saying too, let's mention this. This is a little kind of portable, very compact salt and pepper shaker or spice shaker, if you will. You said yours is a little bit bigger than this?
Yeah, you can get them a little bit bigger, but each one has 2 different compartments. So this actually has 4 different spices in it. I've got one that's, I think, 2 more than that. Yeah. And then I have salt, pepper, I have some garlic salt in it.
It's a nice little compact way for you to carry some spices with you.
Yeah, everything is spiced and ready to go for cooking, but people may want a little bit more salt or whatever, so I try not to oversalt stuff because I take people with me, and I don't want to kind of blow their mind with what I want to eat, so they can...
It's not always just about us, is it?
It's not always about me. It's usually about me.
Awesome, and then do you like massage?
Yeah, you can go move
like
around, massage your vegetables, talk to it, sing it a song.
All right, so these are ready to go.
And then when we vacuum pack that, all the juices get all sucked into it anyway. So
awesome. So this would be one pack that's ready to go.
Yep.
Yeah?
Done.
Beauty.
Should we do another one?
Yeah, let's do all of our packs and then we can vacuum pack them after. It's all about efficiency, people. All right.
But do you want? I'll let you do this one.
Yeah. And I noticed too, Steve was packing the last one, is you want to kind of pack them too so they're flat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For two reasons. One, it's easier to pack when it's flat, but if they're kind of munched in there, when you vacuum pack it, it squishes the vegetables, and it doesn't work out. So
you have like a puree.
It's
which isn't a problem.
It's not a problem.
Maybe that's one of your meals.
It depends what your meal is.
And if you did it by accident, then that's one of your meals.
Exactly.
There are no accidents. Everything turns into a lesson, learning.
Most of my favorite meals have actually been an accident. Wow, I'm going to do that one again.
Yeah.
What did we do? I don't know.
That was a great accident. All right, bag number 2. Let's top it. Beauty. Hold that one up. I'm going to just do my veg with salt and pepper for this round. I'm going to save my flavors for the meat. All right. So that's done. What do we have next?
We've got this mix here. I need a small bag for that. So I'm just going to scoop. Do you want to scoop all that in here?
Scoop.
And this is going to be for our stew. Or I guess it's a stew, kind of our chili mix.
And what I love about this too is like you could totally do this by yourself, but obviously it helps if you have multiple hands.
Yes.
But I feel like this would be a really fun thing to do if you're a family and you have kids, to get the kids involved with packing. I know you have a son and he like loves all this stuff.
Loves this, yeah. Yeah, he actually likes working with the vacuum sealer.
Yeah.
That's his favorite part.
You know, I'm always big. I don't have kids of my own, but I have lots of friends with kids. I have my nieces and nephews, and I'm all about getting the family in the kitchen. I hear so many people being like, I can't get anything done. The kids are doing this. I'm like, well, why don't you get them to help you? Get them in the kitchen. They love getting their hands and stuff. So
that's good to go.
Okay.
And the great thing about this one, because it's going to be the base for the ground meat and the rice, this will go in first. And I put extra olive oil in there, so it's going to be the base of the pan as well. So it's already greased up, so you don't have to bring anything extra for that.
Amazing.
It works.
So do we put the spices in that too, or are we putting the spices?
No, spices will go on the meat.
Okay, got it.
We could, but I don't want them. I don't want to burn the spices right away.
Oh.
Depending on what's in there, we should watch out for that. But it's,
liquid gold over here about to spill over. All right. Okay.
And we've got a day of veggies to go with our lunch, so we can plop those in there. Now, the only downside, this isn't very many, the only downside to this is that these aren't resealable in the field.
Right.
So you wouldn't want to put, if you're going to have sliced vegetables for lunch on 2 days,
you want to
separate them
separately.
Or in a case like this, they would be fine in a Ziploc bag as well.
Right.
They're not going to get much smaller when you vacuum seal it.
Yeah.
So, but that's that.
Okay. That.
And then last is this enormous bag for these couple vegetables here.
So this is going to be for like Western omelet style.
Exactly.
One of the breakfasts. All right.
Just a touch of olive oil for that.
Beauty.
There we go. Now we also, on one of the meals, we have some cheese. We have cheese, some pepperettes, and some olives.
And really, I guess the pepperettes, like, you could use, like, cold cuts or any kind of, like, cured meats that you'd want, preference, or...
Dried, something like this, because that might be for a couple of lunches.
Yeah.
A dried pepperette is really good. I wouldn't use a cold cut. They don't last long at all. Once they're warm, they're done. They'll go bad very quickly.
So dried is better.
Yeah, dried. Okay. And one of the best things you can do is if you go down to St. Lawrence Market or any, like, big market like that, wherever you are, you can get what's called a Mennonite sausage, and it's a big salami. It's a giant salami, and it's really cured and really dry, and it will last forever. I've taken them on a 3-week canoe trip. They're about this big.
Yeah.
They're huge. Yeah. And so you just cut a piece off every day and just gnaw away on it. It lasts forever. Yeah. And you don't have to keep it refrigerated or anything.
And I guess with this too, like, you could, I guess, separate them out and vacuum seal individually, like you mentioned for the vegetables, or is this like once you open it, it's not a big deal because they're dried?
If they're dried, so they're fine. And a lot of the time when we're doing a car camping trip or if we're just doing a weekend stuff, we're going to be maybe canoeing around the lake for the day or going on a nature hike. So we'll want to have those as snacks throughout the day.
Yeah.
So I don't lunch so much when I'm camping. I snack a lot.
And one thing I do want to mention, because we do want to be mindful about where we're getting our stuff from, that whenever you're using dried or cured meats, try and get them that are free of nitrates and stuff like that, because that stuff's not good for you. So that was just a little extra little bonus tip that I want to mention, because you know that us at Evolve are very, very big on that. So try and get some, which are totally available, like these ones from PCR. Just the less crap that's in there, the better.
But you do have to check, and check often. We've had some favorites, and then that have been free of bad stuff, and then you check it again, like after a year, and like they've changed it.
They've changed it, yeah. It's true. You always have to read your labels, guys. Always read the labels. But all right, that was just a little extra tip on that.
A tip on packing your cheese. I heard about it a few years ago, because I always like to take a block of cheese that would be like a dry old cheddar or something like that, that's kind of crumbly and can withstand the nature.
Yeah.
This is feta cheese, so it's a little bit different. But what would always happen, it would always go moldy after a week in the field. We're just going for a weekend trip, so everything is fine. I wouldn't have to do it. But if you're going for a longer spell of time, get a piece of cheesecloth, soak the cheesecloth in vinegar, wring it out so it's almost dry, and then wrap your cheese in that vinegar-soaked cheesecloth. And then vacuum bag that until you want it, and it will last for weeks, it seems, for weeks.
But if you vacuum seal that, then as soon as you open it, then
it's open.
So like you want to try and ration your cheese maybe then, and do like a few little packs.
Yeah, do a few little packs of there's 2 of us for lunch, so we need this much cheese, and then you just have to eat the cheese.
Yeah, just eat the cheese.
Just eat the cheese. It's generally not a problem.
There's never any feta cheese left when it's feta. I know for me, anyways, there won't be any cheese left.
Yeah. So, but it's something to keep in mind. You don't want to have like a giant block of cheese that you're always opening and closing. Right. Because the more you open and close something, the quicker it's going to spoil.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like a metaphor for a cooler.
Just a normal, regular cheesecloth. And you said, does it matter white vinegar, red vinegar? Like, does it matter which kind of vinegar?
I would probably white vinegar.
Just plain white vinegar.
Yeah, I would think like malt vinegar or something like that wouldn't be the thing to do. I want it to be
perfect
white vinegar.
All right. So then we would do that, and then
vacuum. I'm out of vacuum bags, so we'd have to get another vacuum bag and seal that up as well.
Perfect.
All right. And with our olives too, I missed a whole lunch when I was preparing the vacuum bags, so we have to vacuum up some of that too. That's what happened.
So
that's because I hadn't laid everything out yet,
and because I keep moving things on him, so I'll take some blame for that.
It's all your fault, Jackie.
We are ready we did all of our vacuum sealing, and now we're ready to pack the cooler. So how are we doing this, Steve?
So what we've done, we've separated each meal into a Ziploc bag. So here is dinner of day 3. We've got our ground meat, our vegetables, our rice, and our spice pack all together in one easy to grab bag right there. Same thing with dinner day 2, dinner day 1, our steak. We also have our lunches separated into 2 bags, and then our breakfast is all our breakfasts are in one bag just to save on bags, but it's nothing that's really going to spoil. So the cooler that I generally take is a little bit smaller than the big cooler here. So the way I pack this at home is day 3 dinner is going to be eaten last, so that's going to go in the bottom of the cooler. Day 2 dinner is packed on top of that, and then day 1 dinner is packed on top of that. Right, so when I get to the campsite and everything's all unpacked, I just open up the cooler, grab dinner, close the cooler. Everything is good to go. Okay, so that's how that works out. And then
one thing
lunches
that I do quickly want to mention is that the meats should be frozen. My meats aren't frozen here because I just bought them fresh, but the meat, whatever meat you have, should be previously frozen.
Exactly, yeah. All your meat is already frozen, so that adds to the ice pack in the cooler. And then any other portions of meals that you might have made, if you've made a chili beforehand and you vacuum packed it, freeze it.
Okay.
Right, and then you can have that day 3, day 4, and by then it's starting to thaw out a little bit. So you can freeze different portions. You don't want to freeze all, like I don't freeze my steak because that's steak. You don't do that. But also the vegetables that are going to go on the grill, if you freeze that, they don't come out very nice at the end. So be careful which vegetables you freeze. And so stuff like that. And any kind of sauces you might want to freeze in a bag as well. That you have. Okay, so we've got our giant bag here. So I'm going to pack this so that I remember where all the food is. And I'm going to eat from left to right. Just like I write across the page, I'm going to eat from left to right. So my meal 1 is going to be on the left side. So this is the right side of my cooler. So my meals are going to go in on the right side. And we've got a bunch of ice packs in here, which you can't quite see. So I'm just loading them up across the bottom from right to left. So that the left side one is the one I want. The Vanna White. Excellent job. And then I can just fill in the spaces around that. I've got my 2 lunches. They're going to go across the front side right here. Basically, the way I've got it set up on the table is the way it's going in to my cooler, so that I know where everything is. And then carefully place the eggs. Eggs are way more hardy than people think. You can be abusive with eggs. They're not going to break. Yeah. And then all the extra lunch stuff goes on top of that. So now I know that when I open up my cooler, I can quickly grab the meal I want without spending any time with the cooler open.
And I guess what you could do too, if you might not remember, you can always with like a black Sharpie write on the Ziploc bag.
Just put a big number 1,
dinner
2,
1,
3.
dinner 2, and then that way if you forget, you're not sitting there like, oh, was it the you just grab whatever label.
Yeah. And the most important thing is the freshest food that you have, like the steak or some fresh vegetables that you want to eat first, get that. But after your 2 or 3 days in, it doesn't really matter if you grab, sausage 1 or sausage 2 meal. Yeah. It doesn't make a big difference.
Wonderful. Beauty, and then that's it.
That's how it goes. And then that stays closed. Now, coolers are not bear proof. So if you're going into bear country, you need to have ways to strap this down and ways to tie it up in a tree or stash it somewhere where the bears won't get it. Okay. I've never had trouble with bears getting my food, but all sorts of other critters definitely get into your food. So you want to make sure you seal that up and put it away. So if you're car camping, you can lock it in your car and you're good to go. But when you're on a canoe trip, you'll want to either float it or tie it up in a tree. Especially
after all this hard work that we've put into it, we want to enjoy the meals ourselves and not have other nature-friendly creatures enjoying them. So wonderful. Yeah. Awesome. And one thing that I do want to mention, just again, being a little bit more conscious with everything that we do, a lot of the bags that we use to separate out the meals, you can completely reuse them because it's like, for sure, you know what I mean? Like the bigger Ziploc bags. So keep those and use them as like your camping cooler Ziploc bags, and then that way you can reuse them all the time. And with the plastic from all of the vacuum seal, just make sure that you're collecting all of your garbage and then you're bringing it back with you and throwing it in a garbage and not leaving all of that stuff out in nature, for sure, right?
And that is a really good point on that very first meal that you take out. My D1 meal ship bag. This Ziploc bag, we're going to take all our stuff out. We're going to make our lovely meal with this stuff. This is now my garbage bag for the week. All the other garbage is going to go in this, and I can squeeze the air out and seal it up. The next day I'm going to use the same thing to put more garbage in. And then the other Ziploc bags, I've got Ziploc bags in my camping kit that I've had for decades, I think. They just keep lasting. Because I don't really seal them up. They're just to organize stuff, so little organizers. But that first bag becomes my garbage bag, and I seal that up.
Wonderful.
And so I just keep going with that.
Absolutely.
And then at the end of your trip, there's always a place to throw out your garbage.
Yes, as much as we want to enjoy all of our nice meals and the beautiful nature, we want to keep it beautiful and make sure that we are being responsible about the waste that we're bringing in and out of the forests, right?
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, guys, that is it. Thank you so much, Steve. I hope that this video was informative for you guys and that it's going to change your camping experience, making it a little bit more efficient and prepared so that you can spend more time enjoying the actual adventuring instead of always prepping your meals. So thank you so much for that, Steve.
It was my pleasure. It was lots of fun. I love sharing all these things I picked up over the years.
Wonderful.
So,
that's what it's about, right? You learn through trial and error, and then when you find something that works, it's time to share it with everyone else. So, awesome, guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll see you later.
All right, thank you.